You know, there's a really fascinating liquid mayhem to some of the scenes. It's really interesting to see what you've done visually with the film. I think we're going to take some questions from the audience, and then, hey there. Oh, these guys again.
Are we getting overbearing?
No, it's a nice presentation.
This question is for Zack Snyder. In 300, you worked with an all-male cast. How much better is it to work with an all-female cast?
Not entirely all-male cast, but there were a lot of males in 300, I will agree with that. It was awesome. These guys were awesome. It was, you know, I could say something, you know, about male and female sexuality. I could say something about sexual preferences. I could say something about a lot of stuff. Nice. But maybe what I'll just say is that these actors were amazing and did an amazing job, and never flinched, never blinked. When I asked them to do crazy shit, they just were like, all right, well, who should I kill? Which of those people should I kill? And I said, well, all of them. And they were like, okay, fine. And so that is all I can ask. And so I will say that it was an amazing experience working with these guys. They were great. Thank you. And amazing 2D, those two were.
Hey there, how you doing?
Eye-popping 2D, yes.
Hi. Good afternoon. The movie looks great. Congratulations to the cast. My question is for the beautiful and lovely and charismatic Jamie. I wanted to know how you prepared for a hardcore action role, seeing as before we've seen you like sweet roles and also like the horror type genre with Sorority Row. So what exactly pertained to you preparing for this role?
I had to... Okay.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. I had a crash course in how to fly a plane and how to fly a chopper, so that was pretty cool. I got to work out with the rest of the girls. I mean, the girls worked out so hard, you know, and I jumped in. I was a month late, but they were already training for a month, so we trained together for 3 months, and, you know, it required lots of physical commitment, but most importantly, you know, it was just getting to know the girls and hanging out with them, and kind of naturally came together that we all loved spending time with each other, which was perfect for the film because it translates perfectly on screen, the camaraderie, so.
You know, actually, before we go to the next question, Zach, that was Led Zeppelin's When the Levee Breaks.
That was Led Zeppelin.
How hard was it to get that? I mean, is that in the film, or is that?
It's not in the film, but yeah, it's very hard to get it. As a matter of fact, impossible, but we had a connection. We didn't have a connection, but you know.
Yeah. Well, it's very effective. Hey, how you doing?
C.T. McLean here. My question is to the 5 lovely ladies at the table. What's it like to now have a place amongst the sexy, ass-kicking women of cinema?
That's awesome.
It's totally awesome. I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I think it's kind of, this movie is so different in terms of a female action film, you know, because a lot of times if there's kind of girls fighting, they can be catty, or it's sort of like a parody, you know, like, oh, those girls have guns, that's funny. But these girls are actually all supporting each other, and they're genuinely really tough. So I think it was cool to be able to do that, because it's not something I've really seen before.
Yeah, and it's a little early to say. I mean, we haven't, you know, it's like just seeing this for the first time, you know, it's different. I think it's going to be a whole different thing, you know. But I think an absolute credit to Zach is that sometimes, you know, working within this type of genre, I think a lot of people tend to build one-dimensional characters, particularly for women. And I think what's so exciting about being women on this end of the genre is that not only do we get to do amazing kick-ass things, but we also get to be playing with three-dimensional, beautiful characters that I think is going to be really surprising for the audience, you know. So I think that's the coolest thing, is not only do we get to like wield amazing weapons and do kind of amazing otherworldly fighting styles, but that we're actually, you know, intricate human beings on screen as well.
Terrific. Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. My name is Justin Gray. I just want to thank you, Zach, for being responsible for the best adaptations of graphic novels. So thank you for that. And then my question was, the action scenes in The Watchmen, do you have the same action choreographer for this Sucker Punch movie?
Yeah, it's Dave McCarro did 300 and Watchmen, and he worked on this movie. You know, we try and shake it up, you know, whenever we get after it. So, you know, I think you're going to see some stuff in this movie that, you know, we did stuff in this movie we've never done before. So, you know, it'll be, I think it's fun. I think it'll kind of push it. But Damon's amazing, so he's just a genius of mayhem. So that's awesome.
You know, 300 is a fairly simple story. Watchmen and Sucker Punch are incredibly complex. Do you find yourself leaning one way or another? Is there one that you find particularly appealing as a filmmaker?
Well, I mean, it's a lot more exhausting to make a movie that has like 100 different layers and 10 different stories going on, and they all have to kind of come together in the end. And so, I mean, there is that. I mean, not to say I long for the simpler days when people didn't need complicated movies. No, I'm just kidding. I do. I kind of, each thing is its own thing, and I guess the reality is they're all complicated in their own way, you know.
Sure.
And so it's just, you know, I guess when you're juggling things, maybe, you know, there's an element of that that's difficult, but also when you're telling a sort of simple, straightforward story, it's also difficult to, you've got to keep it compelling and interesting. So, you know, they're both difficult.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. My question is for Zack Snyder. With Inception, and now it looks like this has continued the tradition of films that take place in the real world, crossed over with fantasies taking place in people's minds. And one of the trickier things with those types of films is, how do you define the line between fantasy and reality, and how much do you want to define that line? How much do you want to spoon feed the audience, and how much do you want to let them figure out for themselves? So how did you reach the conclusion with this film?
Awesome. Well, there's a couple ways to answer that. I don't want to ruin the movie, but I will say that, you know, I spent a lot of time in working on this movie and trying to figure out as you would, sort of the device or the part of the movie, of course, that either transports you and then the rules and reality of the world once you're in the alternate reality. And so, yeah, just like anything, I think you have to spend a lot of time with that, as long as you know, those things all coalesce in the end. You know, I think that's the real trick, and the real challenge of the film is getting them all to mash up in the end. You know.
Do you anticipate the film will be rated R or PG-13? Or?
I think the movie actually has a chance of being rated PG-13, to be honest. So we'll see. I'm waiting to see what they say. You know, we have a lot of fantasy-style creatures that are being mowed down. So if you're familiar with a little movie called Lord of the Rings, they made a movie called Lord of the Rings. It's crazy. They lorded the rings completely. No, they killed a lot of orcs in that movie. And they got a PG-13. They cut their heads off, which I thought was awesome. But
yeah, if you kill an orc or a droid, you can hold on to the PG-13.
Exactly.
Right.
Or if your Nazis are zombies, they're not Nazis because of World War I. Everyone calls them Nazis. It makes me crazy. But anyway, if your German soldiers are zombies, then maybe it's cool to kill them a lot. So.